Hello everyone, John Pollock here with you. Hot Docs is currently underway in Toronto, and one of the films you're going to want to check out is called Doglegs, and with us is the director and producer of the film. It's a really fascinating look at, I guess, professional wrestling being a backdrop to the documentary. I want to make sure everyone is aware of the different screenings that are going on. It's premiering tonight, actually, Monday, April the 27th, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time at the Scotiabank Theatre, also on Tuesday at 2:15, and then Friday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm pretty good with my times. Let's first talk about Doglegs. For those at home that maybe are not aware of the concept, tell us a little bit about this in a nutshell.
Sure. Well, the film is about a handicapped janitor who moonlights as a pro wrestler in this crazy Tokyo subculture where the disabled take on each other in the name of smashing stereotypes about how the disabled should behave. And they also take on able-bodied people in the name of smashing stereotypes about how they should be treated.
It's an interesting look at using this medium that is professional wrestling. Some can look at professional wrestling as an area where it can tend to exploit, but I think this film, and I have not seen it yet, it seems that it's an avenue that is used to really empower as well.
For sure. I mean, everyone's getting in there because they want to. Nobody's making any money out of it. It's an amateur professional pro wrestling league. It's kind of like a fight club for the disabled.
Now, how did you first come aware of this league and what was going on? I know you lived in Japan. How did it all kind of come together, and what was your first impression of this?
Right. Well, a friend of mine and I were pitching video report ideas for a website, and he mentioned this taboo topic that had been bandied around by all the foreign correspondents in town, in Tokyo, where I was living at the time. And he said, look, I can tell you this idea, but you probably won't like it, because basically everyone I tell it to is like, that's great, but we just can't touch this. And I said, well, what is it? He said, it's handicapped pro wrestling. And I was like, yeah, that's really getting me thinking. I didn't know how to respond to that. It brings up all these different connotations, ideas. I guess there's a lot of history to the, it makes you think. And
did you go into it with an open mind, or did you kind of have your reservations?
I had my reservations, yeah. I think I was slightly concerned that it was going to be some kind of freak show.
Yeah.
Maybe some kind of exercise and exploitation, able-bodied laughing at the disabled for, I didn't know what to expect. I thought I might have to do some kind of expose. But when I went there, it was this like warm, convivial environment, families, very, very prim actually, in a weird way, not your typical wrestling crowd. And then disabled people in the audience, and then you see the show play out, and what transpires in the ring is hardcore. It's really, they really go, they take pieces out of each other, man. And it's a range of levels. So at one stage you've got people with like heavy cerebral palsy who can basically just lie there. And then at the other end of the scale you've got people who are almost like Olympic level athletes. So they really mix it up as well. They've got 4 basic categories: people who lie on their backs, people who are on their knees, people who can stand, and then they have the so-called no prejudice zone, and that's where they mix it up, and that's where it gets interesting.
So at this stage, a lot of people are hearing about the documentary for the first time. The screenings have not yet taken place. What has been the reaction you've received, whether it be from other press and media? Because I'm sure there's a lot of knee-jerk reaction to what this is going to be before seeing the film. Are you encountering some of that?
Yeah, nothing too unexpected. I think that most Western press kind of goes into it with the assumption that it's going to involve some level of exploitation, that somehow the disabled are being abused. But most of it's been fairly encouraging. I think a lot of people have been focusing on the social issue aspect of it, like empowerment for the disabled. Sure, that's part of it. That's there at the bedrock and the core of the film. But what it really is a story.
Yeah.
It's a strong story with amazing characters doing very passionate, funny and un-PC things. It's not your, school marmy, finger waggling, you must sort of think this way or that way about the disabled. It's a story.
Tell us about some of the characters that people are going to see in this documentary, and what made them so compelling that you felt there was a larger story here that you wanted to tell.
Sure. Well, there's the aforementioned main character, the disabled janitor, who moonlights as a pro wrestler. Did I mention him? I don't think I did. Yeah, the main character is a handicapped janitor who moonlights as the hero of this league, and he's had 20 years of glory. Now he's ready to hang up his gloves and pursue his dream of life and love beyond the ring, but there's one man standing in his way, and it's his able-bodied mentor who isn't going to let him go without a fight. There's also a man who's billed as a cross-dressing alcoholic with heavy cerebral palsy. His battle is with the bottle. Much to the chagrin, I guess you'd say, of his wife and able-bodied son. Yeah, he's just like a hard-ass drinker. He's just like putting himself in harm's way. But so I won't tell you how that story resolves. But there's also the man who's pouring his drinks, who is a nurse, a carer. He's also got clinical depression, and he too gets in the ring to get awareness for his condition, his invisible condition, but he tends to have some kind of meltdown or emotional breakdown. Clinical depression and wrestling aren't necessarily the best mix. And he is actually in town right now. His name is Nakajima, and he's going to be at the screening tonight. He's going to be taking questions. So come on down and check it out. He's going to be here for 2 days, today and Tuesday.
It really sounds like you hear from these characters. I mean, it's not all that different from a superhero character in a comic book, where some will look at this one discernible characteristic that some would view as a handicap. I mean, everyone is just talking about Daredevil at the moment, for instance, and it's kind of the opposite. It's not viewed as a handicap by certain people. It's something that here we're going to see a lot of these people overcome what some might deem a handicap that they don't maybe foresee as such.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting, people like the main character, Shintaro is his name. I don't think he really focuses on his disability too much. He's just in it for the glory. But someone like Nakajima, who I mentioned before, he's a nurse. He has this invisible disability, so he actually does want people to recognize that he is disabled. Yeah.
How receptive were they to when you are kind of pitching this idea and you want to tell their story to a larger audience? Were they largely positive to it, or did they have any reservations?
Well, Japan is a very hierarchical society. It's very top-down. So to get access to the group, I had to go through the organizer. And once I had his permission, everything fell into place. But it took 6 months to get there.
And how, as a filmmaker, is this kind of a nervous energy you have right now before the first screening at Hot Docs? What is the reception going to be like? Or is that kind of a thrill you get where it's now I get the chance to showcase this to an audience and see how they react to things, different scenes, different characters?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how people respond to it. When I first saw Doglegs, I didn't know how to feel. Should I laugh?
Interesting.
I wanted to laugh at places. I didn't know if I should laugh. I felt guilty for wanting to laugh. I was shocked, and then I was like really getting into it, and I was like, come on, I was watching it, and should I be encouraging these people, and having all these mixed feelings, and then taking the time to look back at those feelings and where they came from, gave me a chance to sort of realize a few things about myself that I didn't realize already, some prejudices and some preconceptions that I already had. So my goal really is to replicate that experience that I had, to take people on that kind of emotional roller coaster, that journey. But yeah, it's been a long ride. I haven't really, I wouldn't say I feel nervous, I'd say I feel tired. We're doing a lot of promotion. We're running a Kickstarter at the same time, and just knackered, really, yeah.
Tell us a bit about the Kickstarter account and raising this so that others beyond Toronto and Hot Dogs will have a chance to see this.
Yeah, if you search Doglegs on Kickstarter, it will come up. Basically, we're raising money to finish the film, just because it's in Hot Docs doesn't mean that it's ready for public consumption, unfortunately. There's going to be little tweaks, and little tweaks cost a lot of money. There's got to be polishing of the sound, we've got to fix up the color, we've got to get ready it for public release and promote it properly and get it into more festivals, hopefully, as well.
Well, I myself am very much looking forward to seeing it. Once again, it's premiering tonight, Monday night, April the 27th, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time at the Scotiabank Theatre, and then additional screenings on Tuesday afternoon at 2:15. That'll be at the Tiff Bell Lightbox Theatre, and then Friday night at 7:15 back at the Scotiabank Theatre. Heath Cozens, go support the film Doglegs on Kickstarter. They're also up at doglegsmovie.com. We very much appreciate the time, Heath, and all the best with the continual success of Doglegs.
Thanks so much, Sean.